Good evening, race fans. Pirate here with Black Flag Racing TV, and as of last night, I still apologise if I lose my voice throughout. Still sick as a dog, but muddling through to bring you guys all the best racing action as I always do. And tonight is an absolute banger of an event, and very great thanks to TJ for coming up with the idea for this. This is the Black Flag GR4 lottery. Now it's quite simple. We put 15 cars in the hat. Everything from this, the GTR to the Genesis to the BMW, all sorts of cars, all the way through the GR4 catalogue. And last week, if you want to check out the video, we spun a wheel, and those cars were allocated on a random basis. That is their car for this 10 race series. You can see there in the race settings. There will be 3 30-minute races. First 2 will be grid start, fastest first. The third of the 3 races will be rolling start, slowest first. Qualifying is 1 single hot lap. That is it. None of this 2-lap random rubbish. You dial it in or you don't. It's quite simple. The only change, it says late morning random weather. That's changed. It is fixed at sunny. Because looking at the tracks we've got coming up, there will be quite a lot of rain coming in, I would have thought, and it's just going to fuck with things, so we thought we'd leave it as it is. BOP is off for a change. Tuning is restricted to 700 pp, so it gives people a chance to use brake balance, to mess with the suspension, do whatever they want to do to get the best out of their car. Now tyres, any can be used, use whatever you like. If you want to go just soft or just hard or just medium, whatever. But it's 6 times wear. You start a full tank with 6 times depletion on your fuel. If we fill at 5 litres per second, slipstream and grip reduction is real. Penalty is strong and damage is heavy. So don't crash, peeps. Not if you don't want your car to fuck up, because you're going to have to take it into the pits if you do. This is the first race of 10 at Brands Hatch. We've got some great tracks coming up in this series: Dragon Trail Seaside, Trial Mountain, Lego Maggiore East. We've got Watkins Glen, Barcelona, Suzuka, Tokyo East, counterclockwise, Deep Forest Reverse, and we finish week 10 with the Fuji short track. So some good short tracks in there, some decent sized tracks as well. Best 8 results count over the season. We've got a new rule coming in about rage quitting this time out, because we've had a few issues with rage quitting lately, and I think we all agree it's a pretty shitty thing to do, particularly if you're one of the faster drivers and you're having a bad day and you think, fuck it, I'll drop the points and just disappear. So there will be penalties for rage quitting. Those penalties won't count if you disconnect, of course. Points allocated: 25 for first, 22nd, and then, as you can see up there, all the way down to 15th will get 1 point. And each race counts 4 points, each of the 3 races. So maximum 75 points available. Nothing for fastest lap, nothing for pole position. It's all about final race position. So let's have a little looky, see who is driving what. So there we go. They are the final list at the moment. We've got 13 so far. There are still 2 cars in the pool for anyone that chooses to come later. And they will be spun out the same as the rest of them have. But we've got Avalon in the Alpha 155. Great car. And there's a few tracks this season that are really going to suit the Alpha. Wiggy's got the Atenza. He's not a big fan of the Atenza, but it is a good car. And I think if he starts chucking some times, and he might change his mind about that car. TJ in the McGann. Rooster's got the Huracan. PM10 in the McLaren, and if you want to watch an onboard version of this with just him, you can do on his channel. Stormfly in the Genesis. Phil is in the F-Type Jag. Jay in the Mercedes AMG. Great car, that. Grizz Troopers in the Ferrari 458. We've got Nick Rock in the Subaru WRX. And if you like the Subaru WRX and have Amazon Prime, I highly recommend the new special for Grand Tour with Clarkson, May and Hammond, because they've got WRX in that. They've got WRX, they've got a Lancer, and they've got the Audi, not Quattro. But great watch that is. Craig is in the GTR. G-Mac is in that BMW M4, as you can see there. And Kevin spun his out today and got himself the Porsche Cayman. So, without further ado, let's go and have a look what is going on the track. There we go. So there is G-Mac in his BMW. There's Stormfly. Loving the Jägermeister. Let's have a look at the liveries now. Loving that Jägermeister there on that. Kevin with the Cayman, he's got a really good Martini livery on there, which also looks very good on the Lancer, the Audi. There's Aussie in the Huracan in a wall. PM10 sitting next to Jada. I'm wondering if they've done qualifying yet. No, it's not meant to be snowing tonight. No. Stupid question from stupid children. There we go. So it looks like everyone has done the qualifying lap actually. They started a little bit earlier than I thought they would. Expected them to start at 1/4 past, but it is 1 lap qualifying, so let's see if that was actually qualifying. But if it was, here we are, Stormfly with, that's the same time for Ben, 1:25.5, 1.2 seconds quicker than Aussie with, I can't see his time, but he's 1.2 seconds quicker, slower. Mr. Cool, literally, I was going to say 2/10, but then, look at Mr. Cool, sliding in like a madman. Why are we not seeing their representative times? I wonder. Well, they're all stopping at Druids, which is where we'd expect them to stop. None of them can stay still. But yeah, so the first one is grid start. Look at them picking up all these penalties. I would laugh if these penalties transferred into the race. They would feel freaking stupid, wouldn't they? So, is it just Nick John Baker and Grid Troopers to set representative laps? Because everyone else seems to have done so. What are they doing? It's absolute carnage. Anyone that's got a set hot lap is absolutely screwed. Because it come around that corner and there's going to be all these cars stuck at Druids. Or has the lobby just gone absolutely crazy ape shit? I think they're trying. I don't know what the hell they're doing. This is absolutely insane. Very, very funny. Look at the state of it. Who's got the biggest penalty here? I think I saw a 10-second or somewhere. Oh, loving that on the top of Stargroot's car. Nice little tribute there to Queenie. 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 15 seconds for TJ. Always very good with the penalties, I think. G-Mac with 2-second penalty. Peter has managed to avoid it completely. Don't know when we're starting. Let's assume that they have already done their representative times. Or are they all jumping in the pits now to do their times? That would be interesting. I didn't see a reset for qualifying though, to be fair. So what can we say? Not a lot really. I know there's not going to be a lot of you watching tonight because most of you are racing tonight, but hopefully we'll have some very good racing. It seems to have calmed down at Druids. Yeah, the carnage has ended at Druids. Apart from G-Mac, who's decided to go Brands Hatch reverse. Loving that bit of drifting. Someone's been doing drifting challenges recently because he's really seems to be enjoying that. So let's see what liveries we can see anyway. See what have we got any? Oh, there we go. I think we're resetting now for qualifying. Or it was just the race. I know this is actually the race start. So Stormfly on pole, Kevin second. Joins him on the front row. Aussie in third place. Mr. Cool in fourth. PM10 fifth. G-Mac in sixth. Stargroup in seventh. Predator is in eighth place. With Phil just behind him in ninth. Grizz, then Jay, then Avalon. Not a good, great start from Avalon. Has everyone got away well? Everyone seems to have got away safely. Certainly no false starts anyway. But Kevin makes the jump at the start. And I'm going to have to do what I normally have to do, which is jump out and then jump back in again. Because he doesn't give me the right view. There we go. Stormfly retakes that lead into Druids. He's got Aussie. Aussie's made his way up into second place ahead of Kevin. So is this going to be about a little bit of carnage here? Obviously they've got to try and avoid each other. They do not want to be picking up any damage or penalties at this stage. It is 30 minutes from this point. Stormfly just starting to edge away in that Genesis. Aussie Rooster in the Lamborghini is 7 tenths behind at the moment, with Kevin just behind him, half a second behind in that Porsche Cayman. But he has got PM10 right up behind him, really in that slipstream, looking for any opportunity to get that McLaren past that Porsche. Mr. Cool in the GTR, very good on the straights. This GTR, very strong car. 1.2 seconds back from that battle for the top 4 at the moment, but starting to pull out from Star Group. Big massive spin there. Who was that? Let me see. Predator has a massive spin, finds himself at the very back of the pack. And did he collect somebody on that journey, on that spin? Grizz Troopers at the moment in 12th. GMAC drops down the order. Avalon up into 11th in that Alpha 155, so up into 10th in the Alpha 155. And now putting a challenge on Jay, and he does get a really good run on Jay into the start-finish straight to start lap 2. That is Avalon up into 9th place now in the phenomenal Alpha 155. Phil ahead of him, just a 3 seconds up the road. So Avalon's next target is going to be Phil in that F-Type Jaguar. Nick John Baker, he is at the moment just 1.4 seconds behind Star Group in that WRX, looking to try and find a way to close the gap on Star Group. Now, let's have a look at tyre choices. So, Stormfly has gone for these softs. He's going to need to pit probably around, I mean, I'm not sure how many laps we're going to have. It'll be a 30-minute race. I would imagine we're probably looking at somewhere around 13, 14, maybe 15 laps. There or thereabouts. I really haven't got the energy or the brain power to do the math. But Stormfly will certainly need to pit at least once with those soft tyres. Aussie also on the softs, which is why these two seem to be pulling quite significantly away from the rest of the pack at the moment. There is Kevin in 3rd, under pressure still from PM10. Kevin also running those soft tyres on that Cayman. PM10 is just still hanging on the gearbox at the back there, also running those soft tyres. There will need to be a fuel stop at some stage. We see how quickly that fuel's depleting, how quickly those tyres are depleting. It's going to be about a level of strategy here. Mr. Cool running well in 5th place in that GTR. He's got Star Group for company. Star Group looking to find a way in that Tenza to get it around the powerful GTR. Will he fall in love with this Tenza over the course of this 10 race series? I certainly hope so, because it's not. I don't think this is about a car as he thinks it is. What he does need is a couple of really good results. But he is running on the medium tyres with Mr. Cool. So there is going to be a dramatic difference. Oh, sorry, no, he's running on the softs with Mr. Cool running on the mediums. There is going to be a dramatic difference between those running on the mediums and those running on the softs. Has anyone been brave and gone for hard tyres? Well, Phil certainly not. He's on the mediums. And there we go. There is the first on hard tyres. And that explains why GMAC is at the moment some 20 seconds off the lead. He has opted to go for the racing hard tyres. Which might set him in good stead. Maybe he feels he can take this very close to the end and then go for a short stint on the softs. I think it really depends on fuel management. We'll see how that works out. Predator's gone for the mediums, but he's got damage front and rear after that spin. He's going to struggle to get the maximum pace out of the McCann in his current position. Nick John Baker, he is running just behind in that Scooby at the moment. But again, he's on the medium, so he's got a bit of damage on the front. Is that going to be affecting his pace? No damage there for Jay in that AMG. And also opted for the medium tyres. So I think the medium runners are going to get a real opportunity here to make some inroads into the leaders. Avalon, massive damage for Avalon, front and rear. All 4 wheels, both bumpers. That's really going to affect the handling of that Alpha 155. Now, was he collected by someone, or did he make a mistake? Be interested to see if he can get that car dialed in, because it's not an awful car. It just hasn't got the high-end speed of some of the other vehicles. Grid Troopers at the moment struggling at the back. Sort of 5 seconds back. But he's also running those mediums in that Ferrari 458. So hopefully he can push that up the order a little bit. No change out front. Well, I suppose there is a change because Stormfly's coming into the pits. That's quite early to pit, but look at the state of that tyre. After just 4 laps, absolutely rips the shit out of that tyre. Aussie Rooster also in. Star Group, he's staying out. He's still got some tyre on that. Mr. Cool on the mediums is going to run out for a lot longer. But Star Group managed to look after his tyres much better in that Tenza. But the damage to that front right tyre around here, absolutely disgusting. Really, really puts pressure on it here with that tyre wear. So interesting to see how tactics are going to play out. So Mr. Cool takes the lead. Star Group in second. Stormfly comes back out in third. He has now gone for those hard tyres. How far can those hard tyres take him? Can they take him to the end of the race? We are 6 minutes in to a 30-minute race here. Phil up into 4th place on those medium tyres. A little bit of damage on the front of that F-type, but should be okay to run that. Certainly a few more laps without too much problem. But he's on those medium tyres, but certainly going to be looking at the damage there on that on the front wing there and the damage to that tyre. Kevin's been in the pits as well. He's on the hard tyres on that Cayman. No damage to him. He's managed to keep it pretty clean. He's back in 5th place at the moment. Aussie Rooster put a bit more fuel on board. Opted for the slightly faster medium tyres. But running still really well in 6th. There are still a few ahead of him that need to pit. But he does have people ahead of him now running hard tyres. So really the key is to try and get round them. He's under significant pressure at the moment though from GMAC. GMAC and Predator both looking to make a move. And here we go, Predator making a move up the inside. Little touch on Aussie there. For me, he touched the back of Aussie there and caused a big problem. Aussie drops down that order. Nick John Baker has a run now on GMAC. But under braking, GMAC just holds it. Star Group with a 3-second penalty, and that'll be coming out of the pits, I would have thought. So cross that pit line, and it's cost him 3 seconds. So Aussie Rooster, little nick in the back there he got from, it looked to me like Predator just caught him on the back side of that car and gave him a little spin. And GMAC spins off. Now, was that a touch by Nick John Baker or by Predator? Let's have a look at the cars. Well, there's no damage there. Oh, there is. There's some damage on the front of Nick John Baker there, and there's certainly some damage on the front of Predator. They've certainly been touching. Now, GMAC, let's have a look at his car, because where is he now? GMAC is back in 11th place. There's certainly some damage on the rear there, so it looks to me like he was definitely collected. So there is a couple of steering decisions certainly going to need to be looked at. And we're only in race number 1. When will these guys learn? Excuse me. Avalon comes back out in last place on the soft tyres, looking to go a bit racy this time and close that 7-second back on Grid Troopers. Grid Troopers, however, has not pit as yet, as Avalon Grid Troopers puts in a personal best. So Mr. Cool still running out front. He's a little bit wide there, but does keep it on the road. The gap is 3.6 seconds. That GTR at the moment holding him out quite well as he comes through Druids. We're on lap 7. We are coming up to the 10-minute mark. So what we say, I said 15 laps, we're probably closer to, more than that actually, probably closer to 20 laps I think. 21 laps. 10 minutes is 7 laps, yeah, 21 laps. So ignore me with my crazy maths. But a little wobble at the back end for Mr. Cool. Does keep it relatively straight though. But Stormfly is on a charge on those hard tyres, closing that gap. He has already pit. He started with those soft tyres. He is now running the hard tyres and he's succeeding in closing that gap to Mr. Cool out in front. Kevin also closing that gap. He's still 8 seconds at the moment, 8 seconds behind Stormfly in that Porsche Cayman. But also running those hard tyres, looking to take this car a little bit longer. Star Group, despite having that penalty, has got that Tenza up into 4th place. So not bad running so far, considering especially that pretty much everyone has pit their car so far. So he is running quite well now in 4th place. Predator makes a move on Aussie Rooster. he catch Aussie Rooster there? Because we see Aussie in the gravel. Is Predator being a little bit too aggressive? He's certainly got a lot of damage on his car there. Has he been forcing his way past people and causing damage to cars? We're certainly going to have a look back over replays, and I think we're going to have some busy stewarding decisions to look at. Don't know what happened there. Maybe Aussie did just lose it, but we'll have a look later on. Nick John Baker looking to move up on the back of Predator. Predator's got quite a lot of damage, so that will be affecting the quality of his car. PM10 Racing, currently on those medium tyres, is looking to try and close up, but at the moment can't seem to get amongst those around the front of the pack. He's got Aussie behind him, Aussie having spun off after what was it? Well, there's no damage. Was there any damage? There's no damage on Aussie, so maybe it was just a spin. Certainly no damage on the car to suggest otherwise. So it looks like maybe it was just a spin from Aussie that's taking him out. Now, usually we'd expect this this Lamborghini to sorry, my brain's not working tonight, guys. I'm sick. We would expect this Lamborghini to perform better, especially since the update. It's been a much better car. But maybe it's just about experience with the car. But I think we'll see over the 10-week period, we'll see everyone's knowledge of the car and everyone's ability with their chosen car really improve. And I say chosen car, it wasn't chosen by them, it was chosen by a random set of algorithms. Phil in the Jaguar on those medium tyres is currently running 11 seconds back from Aussie Rooster. Because everyone's on very different tactics, it's going to be very difficult to tell what is going on with everybody. As we see Yellow Sausages joining the room, and it's good to see you, buddy. If you want to join in, there are 2 cars available. I can spin you up a car ready for race number 2 if you want to get involved. So if you want to stick a message up on YouTube, or someone stick a message up on YouTube, we can certainly get you a car spun up. There are 2 available. We've got the Lancer still in the mix. And I can't remember what the other one was I found. I'll have a look in a sec. But there, Phil running in 8th place. Avalon still running in 9th in that Alpha 155. He's 9 seconds off the back of Phil. He's on those soft tyres though. He's starting to get some performance out of them. I think the thing with the Alpha is it's knowing its limitations in the high end. And I think with the extra PP that people have had the option to, boost that PP up to 700 is to stick on a high-end turbo, which improves the top-end speed of this. And it's a great car, the Alpha. Grizz Troopers currently running in 10th place, 4 seconds behind Avalon. We say that as we see Nick John Baker making a move around the outside of Grizz, but making it look very, very easy. So Nick John Baker in that WRX, moving his car up to 10th place. Grizz Troopers dropping down to 11th. GMAC dropping down to 12th at the moment, and still running in 12th, but on those medium tyres. And Jay at the back of the pack in the AMG. He's now on those hard tyres. He's 35 seconds behind everybody else at this time. So out front, Stormflyer has got around Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool has taken this very long on those mediums, taken it to lap 10. And what's going to be a 20-21 lap race. He's gone halfway on those medium tyres, which is a good run, but he's now under pressure from Kevin. Stormfly's already built up a 10.6 second lead ahead of him. So maybe the slowdown there has not been worth the trade-off. Lap times actually weren't, on the hard tyres for Stormfly, weren't too dissimilar to the times that Mr. Cool was putting out. Kevin a little bit slower in that Cayman, but can he do anything to close up on Stormfly now? There's a lot more damage on those hard tyres of Stormfly than there is on those of Kevin in the Cayman. So is there going to be a little bit of tactics now in terms of saving those tyres and changing things towards the end of the race? Is Kevin going to try and take those a little bit longer? Knowing Stormfly's got to go in probably this lap actually. Not a lot of fuel left in that car. So is he going to dive in at the end of this lap as we see him go into Druids for the 11th time in this race? Mr. Cool finally decides to go in the pits. Stargroup in the pits for the 2nd time. Are they going to both run to the end at this point? Mr. Cool going to opt for the hard tyres and go for a long run for the last 10, 11 laps? Or is he going to try and take mediums again, that kind of distance? Would be interesting to see. That promotes PM10 up to third place. Aussie Rooster, despite being collected and having a spin, finds himself up into fourth place. So that Lamborghini is really producing the goods. Tyres on PM10, he's going to have to pit again and pit again shortly, as is Aussie Rooster. Stormfly, we know he's going to pit at the end of this lap. Will that put Kevin in? Well, it certainly will put Kevin in the lead, but Kevin will also need to pit again for fuel at some stage. So Star Group comes out on the soft tyres, so he is looking to pit twice. You cannot take these to the end. It's a 30-minute race. It's still 14 minutes left. So we know that those soft tyres can't go to the end, but he obviously feels that he can get so much better time out of the softs that it's worth sacrificing the extra pit stop. He's currently running in 5th, 14 seconds behind Aussie, who's going to pit very shortly. And there we go, we see Stormfly diving in, and we'll see Kevin very soon coming into the final corner in that Cayman, and he'll cross the start-finish line and take the lead of this race on lap 11. He will need to pit, but still a few laps before he can do that. Is he able to pull out a bit of a gap on Stormfly to do so? Aussie Rooster also comes through in second place, or does he? As you see PM10 also pulling into the pits. So Aussie Rooster gets ahead. Aussie Rooster up into second place. Also will need to pit in the next lap or so. Stormfly comes out of the pits. He's on the hards. He's got a full tank of fuel. He is running to the end of this race. So he is currently 18 seconds behind the current leader, Kevin. And Aussie Rooster sitting in second. Both will need to pit before the end of this race. So Stormfly in a very, very good position. Star Group running fourth place on the soft tyres. He won't, I can't imagine he can take these soft tyres to the end of this race. But it would be awesome if he could. So let's see what he can do. I imagine he is probably going to look at running 2 soft tyre stints to the end of this race. Avalon, despite drifting around at the back, finds himself up in 5th place. He will have to pit now, but he can then put on hard tyres and go to the end of this race, or even medium tyres and go to the end of this race quite comfortably. So I wouldn't count him out at this stage. The Alpha's a very good car. It is going to be about consistency. Mr. Cool comes out on the hards. He's determined to run to the end of this race in that GTR. Don't count him out either. There are people in front of him that still need to pit. He's going to be up this order. PM10 has had his last pit stop. He's currently running in 7th place. He's got Nick John Baker 1.6 seconds behind him. Neither, for me, will need to pit, although I think Nick John Baker is going to struggle a little bit for fuel towards the end of this stint. Maybe even tyres. We know the WRX is quite difficult on the tyres. So Kevin 77 still in the lead. He is 17 seconds clear. Aussie jumps into the pits. He's in 4th place. Avalon also jumping into the pits for his final stop. That sees Star Group coming through, I think. Yeah, Star Group definitely through. He is through, coming through. Druids. Aussie Rooster just coming out of the pits. Mr. Cool coming out behind him. This is going to be a straight race between that GTR and the Lamborghini of Aussie Rooster. Aussie Rooster currently winning that battle. He's on the medium tyres, so he might have a little bit more traction in the corners. PM10 also on the hard tyres. He's sitting just behind him. He's 1 second behind Mr. Cool, who is only 3/10 behind Aussie. So this battle is going to rage right to the very last. Aussie Rooster being on the mediums with the slight advantage is going to give him better traction out of the corners and give him better grip in the faster turns. But the power of that GTR, Mr. Cool, absolutely. But he just overcooks it, goes on the grass, PM10 through. Mr. Cool now under pressure from Nick John Baker, who comes through. But PM10 also loses that McLaren, and we see a massive, massive change. And it's not come down to racing quality, it's come down to slipping off the racetrack, pushing too hard. Mr. Cool in trouble, just getting up to speed now. PM10 is through. Did he slow down to let did he collect PM10 in that little crash he had, and he's let him back through? If that's the case, then obviously no steward inquiry needed there. But that's affected both of their chances. And we've got Avalon now in that Alpha. He has come back out on those soft tyres. Is he determined to run this to the end on those softs? Can he do it to the end? We know he's very good at tyre and fuel saving. Can he take those tyres to the end and put these two under immense pressure on those soft tyres? Predator bouncing off pretty much everyone in the first few laps. Seems to have settled into the race in 9th place in the Renault Megane. He is 3 seconds behind Avalon. He's running those medium tyres, will go to the end. But he's got 22 seconds on GMAC. I don't know what's happened to GMAC today, but he's struggling with that BMW. Unusual to see GMAC floating around at the back there. Clearly had a couple of issues that's caused him some problems and sent him to the back of the field. Phil at the moment in the Jag, 15 seconds off the back of GMAC, is running to the end, but he's got a nice comfortable gap at the moment over Jay. Jay in the phenomenal AMG Mercedes GT3. It's a great car, that is. It can be a bit understeery, but great car all the same. It's currently 12 seconds back from Phil, 13 seconds nearly. 9 seconds clear of Grizz Troopers, who has really struggled to get that 458 dialed in and coming into the pits to repair some damage. It must have really been affecting the car. So there we go. So Kevin in for his final pit stop. That puts Stormfly free and clear in the lead. Stargrew up into 2nd place. He can't take those softs to the end though. He's going to have to pit again in that Atenza. But actually, the speed he's getting out of the Atenza on those soft tyres is certainly making it worthwhile, because he was way down that order earlier on in the race. And actually, it's not worked out too bad for him so far. Aussie Rooster's had his final stop in that Lambo, and you've got to say, he's had a couple of spins, he's been collected, and he's still up into 3rd place. So that Lambo performing very well. Nick John Baker was the great beneficiary of some shenanigans, more than anything else, the best way to say it, behind him, between Mr. Cool and Kevin, and a number of them having some issues out there behind. I think Mr. Cool went for an overtake. He ended up on the grass. Then it looked like he might have collected PM10 on the way through. He then waited for him to go through. So the pair of them now dropping back down the order. We've got Kevin, comes out of the pits in 5th. He's on the softs. He is very racy. He's only 5 seconds behind Nick John Baker, who's on used mediums. Is there going to be a little bit of a charge here from Kevin in that Porsche Cayman in race number 1? As you see Stargrew in the pits, Aussie 14 seconds back. Is Aussie going to take 2nd in this race with a phenomenal performance in that Lamborghini? And he's certainly coming round that last turn now into the straight. And it looks to me like he is just getting out ahead of somebody. Who was it? Well, Stargrew got out. Stargrew gets out in 2nd place on the softs. He is going to run to the end of this race. 22 seconds to Stormfly. That's a big ask in the last 7 minutes of this race. The last 4 or 5 laps. But he will. I don't think anybody is going to challenge him there. So actually, this strategy of just running softs in that Tenza has really proved to be a very solid strategy. Aussie Rooster in the Lambo, running currently solid in 3rd place. He's got 6 seconds on Nick John Baker, and that gap to Nick John Baker from the on-rushing Kevin in that Porsche Cayman is already down to 2.3 seconds. I think Nick John Baker has got a lot of work to do if he wants to keep Kevin behind him. He is on a massive charge. PM10, 3.5 seconds behind. He's got Avalon in the 155 for company. They've got Mr. Cool just behind him in that GTR. We know the GTR is quick in a straight line. We know that 155 is very nippy round corners, and we know that the McLaren was built for a track like Brands Hatch, being the feat of British engineering, of course. So it could be an interesting battle between all three. Predator currently back, 18 seconds back. 9 seconds, 10 seconds ahead of GMAC. GMAC not able to get any kind of performance out of that car, which is a surprise, because the BMW usually you would expect to see more out of it. Phil in the Jag really struggling, but he is 56 seconds clear of Jay, who at the moment is only 1.4 seconds clear of Grizz Troopers. So how's his battle raging? Nick John Baker dives into the pits, maybe sensibly, as does Avalon. Avalon got a little splash of fuel and some softs. Where's it going to see them come out? So Mr. Cool moves through. Kevin moves through. PM10 moves through. So Kevin up into 4th place. He's got 7.2 seconds to make up on Aussie Rooster. Is there enough time and enough pace to do it? So his fastest lap of the race has been a 1:26.6. Aussie Rooster is lapping around the 1:28s, early 1:29s. So certainly there is enough time to catch. But there's catching and then there's passing. And you've got to bear in mind that after 2 or 3 laps, those soft tyres are really, really starting to play up. Mr. Cool, he is 7 seconds behind Kevin. He's ahead of PM10 at the minute, but PM10 is crawling over the back of him and looking for any opportunity to get around that GTR, with Mr. Cool running on the hards, with PM10 running also on those hards, but with a little front end damage. Mr. Cool, no damage at all, won't be affected by any of that. Nick John Baker comes back out in 7th place. He stayed on the medium tyres, strangely stayed on those medium tyres and didn't change. I think if you're going to go in the pits, you might as well make the change, because he's still got 3, maybe 4 laps. 3 laps to run here, and I think it's going to be a struggle come the last lap to keep it on the road, and we can already see him just touching the grass there. I think Avalon on those softs is going to be giving him some pressure very, very soon in that 155. He's got Predator just behind him. We say Predator just behind him, and there we see Predator taking that little French car for a trip to the seaside. So he's not going to be doing anything close to catching Avalon at this stage. Predator does finally make it around the corner without touching the gravel. G-Max still back in 10th, Phil in 11th, Jay in 12th, and Grizz Troopers back in 13th place. But Stormfly out in front, 23 seconds clear now, and he can afford an issue. He could actually afford a pit stop, to be fair. He didn't need it, but he could afford a pit stop at this stage. But very dominant here in this first race of 3, in the 10 race series, 10 race series, should we say, of the GR4 lottery. And a good turnout for the first week, 13 drivers. Remember, if anyone else is interested, we've got 2 cars left in the lottery. If you want one of those cars, I will spin you out the wheel straight away, and you can have a car for today if you so wish, but certainly for next week with one of those 2 remaining cars. So Star Group comfortably in second. Can Aussie pull out Masterstroke and get that 4 seconds on Star Group? Or is he going to be too worried about the charge of the Cayman behind him? That gap is now 2.3 seconds. It's getting smaller. Is there enough in the tank for Kevin to close this down? He's put in another personal best. Is it a big ask with probably a lap and a half, or 2 laps left, I think, from here. A lap and a half from here. We'll certainly see. I suppose it depends how quickly they get round. But we've got a minute and a half left, so they just need to get across the line, and it'll be 1 more lap to catch. Will he be able to do that? That is the question. Apologies, just trying to see what cars we left. Bear with me, guys. Just trying to see what cars we left. So we've got the Corvette still left and the Lancer still left. So if anyone wants one of those and get involved in this, then do so immediately. Because once those 2 cars are gone, we will start after. I suppose if people drop out, you can take their cars. But yeah, or maybe we'll have to add extra cars. We'll have to see. I suppose it depends on the interest. But at the moment, there's 2 cars left. It's the Lancer and the Corvette. Because everyone else has got their cars now, and you can't have one of those. So, Star Group comfortably, I think, in second. Has opened up the gap a bit to Aussie. That is now down to 1 second. We are on the final lap of the race, which is lap 20. Aussie Rooster has got Kevin on a massive charge behind him. Can he see him? He can see him. How much of this racetrack is left? Maybe just enough to save his bacon here. Mr. Cool ahead of PM10. Avalon just behind those 2. But we are looking to see if Kevin can nick a podium position in one of the last few corners. We're coming down here to the right hand side. You come up the top of this hill. There's one more right hand turn. Then it's a left And then we're into the final turn of the race. Ozzy just needs to block him off. He's looking at a move around the outside. Ozzy has the inside line. Kevin has to back off. He just can't get around the outside there. Ozzy lives to fight another day. One more turn. It doesn't look like Kevin's close enough. A Stormfire crossing the line for the win. Star Group will cross the line for second place. And Kevin cannot. And just pushing too hard. He's on the gravel. But I think 14 seconds is enough for Mr. Cool not to catch him at this stage. But it's going to be a much smaller gap when he finally does cross the line. So there is Mr. Cool. 1.6 seconds in the end ahead of PM10. Avalon couldn't close the gap enough. 9 seconds back in that Alpha 155. PM10 crossed the line in 6th place. Avalon in 7th. Nick John Baker will come home in 8th place. Just taking a screenshot of the results there. Filler's finished. And Jay and Chris will be finished very shortly too. GMAC comes home in 10th place. Time Predator in 9th. Although I'm not entirely sure how many of those points he will keep. I've had a look at the replays because it certainly looked to me like he was very liberal with the please don't get other drivers rules. But there we go. So there's your first race done and dusted. We have got a short break. Then we will have one hot lap qualifying. We will then have the same again. Another 30-minute race round here. With the straight grid as it is. And then one more, which is reverse grid rolling start. And we'll see how that mixes things up. So, despite Star Group's protestations that the Atenza was a shit car, he pulls out a lovely, lovely second place in his first race. So, there we go. How about that for a first race? That was pretty freaking decent, wasn't it? So, I think there's going to be a short break before qualifying goes ahead. Let's see who's out on track and who's doing what, shall we? So Phil already getting some practice in, or are they going straight into qualifying? Well, he's on an out lap at the moment. So I'm going to spin the wheel just in case Chris wants the. In fact, I'm going to ask him. Let me spin the wheel first and see what he gets. I'm not going to put it up because I've got this got to go. Spinny, spinny, spin. Where is he on this list? I just saw him join the room. Right, so I've spun up. He spun up the Lancer. So if he wants it, it's all his. Oh, I can't talk and type at the same time. Right, so now he knows. If he's in there, he can see it. Yeah, what else can we say, really? Let me just reply to him now. Alright, so now he's aware. Hopefully we'll get Chris to join us. There might be a bit of a longer break while he just goes and gets his car and has a little fiddle with it. What car's he in? Oh, he's in the Lancer. There we go. Awesomeness. Well, to be fair, he only had a choice of two, didn't he? So there we go. Let's see how he gets on in the Lancer, because the Lancer was actually rather sought after cars. It was quite interesting because we ended up with the Mitsubishi Lancer and the Corvette, which are two of the better cars in of the selection. I'm surprised they didn't come out sooner. So we're just waiting to see when qualifying. Ooh, bit of a spin there for the back of that Lancer. Just waiting to see. I'm not sure whether they're quality in yet. I didn't see a message from Jay to say quality starting. But it's as before. It's one out lap, one qualifying lap to decide your grid position. That simple, really. GMAC getting some practice in. Didn't have a great race in race number 1. Hoping to get a bit more out of the BMW this time out. We know GMAC's quicker. Could it just be an affinity with the car that he is lacking at the moment? Something that will come. This is a 10-week series, so you will see a bit more of affinity with the car coming as the races go on. And we've just been informed by our glorious host Jay that the next race will start at 9 p.m. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop talking for just a little while because my phone is absolutely killing me. So I'm going to leave you with Mr. Cool in the GTR while I go and have a smoke and a little drink and a pee. See you very soon. I assume we didn't miss much. Well, no, you didn't miss anything because you weren't watching. I didn't realise I'd clicked the screen off. But it looks like... where is everybody? Everybody's parking up, so it looks like laps are being set. Kevin's set, fast lap so far, 26.4. Good, decent lap for Kevin. GMAC, no idea what lap he set. 28.0 for Mr. Cool. For some reason GMAC hasn't got time up there. PM10 with a 28.2. I am liking this format of a single qualifying lap because it's a great leveler. You know, you have to. I mean, a Stormfly puts in a 26.1. You have to kind of balance between pushing and not cocking it up, which can be a good balance there actually. Because what we find is that you got these guys, they will push, but one cock up and they can find themselves way down the order. So it becomes about, can you put in a consistent lap rather than necessarily a quick one. I haven't got GMAX time. He's currently sitting on the second row with Mr. Cool with a 28.0. PM10 28.2, best he can do. Stargroot does a 28.4 in the Atenza. So not a great car in qualifying, but certainly good for a race. Good win from Stormfly, race number 1. Stargroot with a great second place in that Atenza from quite far back on the grid as well. Yellow Sausages, first run out. Didn't get to run out in race number 1. But we won't hold that against him. He's in that Lancer for race number 2 and 3. Currently on his hot lap. Has he got something in the bag? Can he jump in straight in this car and prove a point? I mean, the Lancer's a very good car. One of the better GR4 cars in the selection. And the thing is, he may not have had much time to mess around with the PP limit either. So it may be in between this race and next he can get a lot more out of that car. Tell you what, I think by tomorrow my ability to speak is going to be gone. You know, it was a very long night on Saturday. Another race yesterday. We've got this today. I'm so glad that I've got nothing to stream tomorrow. So I might actually just come on and have a little race. Why not? Yellow Sausages gets himself onto the second row in that Lancer. That is a great performance. Jumps straight in the car and gives himself a great opportunity, really, from the second row of the grid. Where else are we looking? So here we go. Race is about to begin. We're not going to pick anyone in particular, or are we? No, we're not. We're going to let the race play out from here. So Stormfly from Kevin from Avalon with a great performance from Avalon up to third in that Alpha. So there is some pace in that car. We know there is. And it's 3 lights. It's 4 lights. It's 5 lights. And we are we? We are away. Did he get bogged down at all? It didn't look to me like he did. And he gets away very well. Look in the mirror there. Already gap behind. And as usual, we've got to do this. We've got to do this because Sony and Polyphony are stupid. There we go. Great shot of Druids there. Everyone going through. Looks like everyone's pretty clean there. Stormfly in the lead. From Kevin 77 as they're coming through on lap 1. Kevin in second. Yellow Sausage is already up to third place with Avalon in 4th. So Avalon drops a place just in behind that Lancer of Yellow Sausages. Stargroot in 5th place. Good, comfortable place to be in that Tenza. Now, everyone I think is running on the softs. Has anyone been brave? Actually, they have. Predator have been brave on the mediums. GMAC on those mediums. Phil also running on those mediums. Ozzy's gone for the softs, but he's way down in 9th place in the Lambo. Nick John Baker also on those mediums in the WRX, with Grizz just behind him also on the mediums in the Ferrari 458. And there's Jay in that AMG Mercedes. 2 seconds back already, but on those medium tyres. He's going to run a bit longer. Mr. Cool on the mediums also way back in 13th. But we know he's got some pace in that GTR and just expect to see him moving through the order. PM10 has had an absolutely nightmare start. 5-second penalty, way back in 14th place. He has got an absolute uphill task ahead of him. Damage on the front as well. Did he collect someone on the way through? And can we see who it was that he collected? because it doesn't look like anyone else up here has any damage. So it looks like he's had an argument with a wall, and that has sent him way down into last place in this race. Certainly a lot to look at through the windscreen of his car on his stream right now. There's Stormfly in the lead, 1.9 seconds clear. Mr. Alien has kind of got this dialed in, and really 2 seconds clear already of Kevin. Kevin jumps into the Cayman today. Not really had a chance to fiddle around with it, but doing a good job in second at the moment. But he's got Avalon for company, and Avalon has got that 155 dialed in now, starting to find the limit on that car, and he's sticking with the top three and doing a really good job of it in that Alpha. Only half a second behind Kevin. Every opportunity with a little mistake, any slightest error, and he will pounce. Yellow Sausages in that Lancer. Qualified fourth, currently in fourth, 1.9 seconds behind the Alpha, with Stargru in the Atenza just behind him, tucking in under that back wing of the Mitsubishi Lancer. Is there an opportunity for Wiggy to get this car through and past the Lancer, or is Yellow Sausage going to demonstrate that with 1 foot he's still as quick as he is with 2? And I hope his leg is healing well. They'll go into turn number 1. A little bit of a slide on the back end there for Yellow Sausages. Not close enough though is Wiggy to make any inroads into that as they go into Druids, keeping it nice and tight. And we probably should do a run through lap. Let's do a run through lap on board with the fastest man out there, actually, Stormfly. We'll do that in a second. We'll wait till he's finished the lap, and then we'll do a full lap with Stormfly. So let's look down the order. Where are we at the back? PM10 already made his way up from 14th place into 13th. Jay at the back in the AMG, not being able to get any real performance out of it just yet. But there are some great races coming up in this. There's a yellow flag up ahead. Who has crashed? Somebody's crashed because there's a yellow flag. It's gone green now, but somebody has had a crash somewhere. And it's Avalon. Avalon down in 12th place. So he's had a problem. He's come off the racetrack and finds himself was in the top 3. But he's had a smash. You can see there damage on the front and rear. Well, you can't see that because I think it's covered by my little banner. But yeah, he's got damage on the front and rear of that Alpha now. Finds himself way down in 12th. Behind Mr. Cool again. These two have had a bit of a battle going on. And he's got PM10, who also has damage, crawling up behind him. So we didn't get a chance to watch. Let's go on board. Who's crossing the line now? Let's go on with G-Max. So we go into turn 1, and you want to clip this apex and let it drift wide, but not too wide. You stay on that green stuff. You do not want to touch the gravel. You stay far left, down into second gear for Druids. Get that nice tight apex on the power. Again, you can let that run quite wide on the way out, but you're drifting to the right-hand side. Again, a tight apex, and you can run really wide here, almost right off onto the grass without any trouble at all. This is a third gear corner. You don't want to change down too much. You can get on the power very early here once you've got that car turned in, and then the rest of the racetrack is the fastest part of the track. You come under this horrible bridge, and again, left-hand side, you've got a right-hand turn here. You've got a succession of 3 right-hand turns really, which are really challenging. All slightly different as well, slightly different entry points, different exit points, and you've got gravel on the outside of every single one, which can really punish you if you get it wrong. And here we go, final right-hand turn there. Then you over to the right-hand side for this very quick left, and you don't change out too much. You're back on the power very quickly, and then you're up to the final turn and on to the start-finish straight here at Brands Hatch. Past the pit entrance, and then you're on that power back into turn 1. And Stormfly already in the pits on those softs. They don't last very long. But he gets such immense pace out of that car that it doesn't really cause too much of a problem. Where's he coming back out? He comes back out in 6th place, just ahead of Nick John Baker and 4 seconds behind Phil. So Kevin goes up into the lead. He's done a very good job on preserving those tyres. He's going to be able to hang this out there for quite some time. It's going to be a 20-lap race. The first race was 20 laps, so you would imagine this one would be 2. Now, the question is, if he can hang these soft tyres out to lap 10, which, look, I mean, if you look at the damage, I mean, there's a lot of damage to that rear left tyre, so maybe won't be able to hang it out quite that long. But if he can hang it out as long as people have been hanging out those mediums, this could really play into his hands. But there he is, with 5-second lead over Stargroup in the Atenza. Stargroup got really starting to dial that car in. He's going to have to pit, if not this lap, then certainly on the next lap. Loving that beautiful tribute on the top of the Atenza there to our late Queen. Aussie Rooster again up amongst the front runners in that Lambo. Will again pit this lap or the next. G-Mac having a much better run here, and he's actually on those mediums getting a run on Aussie Rooster. Is there an opportunity? Well, certainly there is, because Aussie pulls into the pits, as does Stargroup. So G-Mac getting a much better race in race number 2 than he did in race number 1. He's up into the podium places already on those medium tyres. So who is behind him? There is Phil in the Jag, also having a much better race this time out. Also on those medium tyres. So they're going to be hanging it out for another lap after this. But you've got to say, look at Kevin. He's on the soft tyres, and he's actually getting a much better wear rate than those guys behind him on the mediums. This is going to be a really, really difficult prospect for Stormfly, despite the fact that Stormfly is chucking in 1:25.6 as the fastest lap. It's going to be a very difficult prospect if he has to pit more often than Kevin does. It'll be interesting to see what tyres Kevin goes on next, because he can probably hang those hard tyres out to the end of the race at this kind of wear if he can manage a couple more laps like this. But there is G-Mac behind him in that BMW. Much better job there. Stargroup makes the move on Phil. Already back up into third. He has pitted. He's on a charge. He's finally discovered the brilliance of that Atenza. Really seems to be enjoying himself out there now. Stormfly up into fourth. He also gets round Phil. He's on those hard tyres. He's on a charge. 1:30, not the quickest lap he's ever done, but he's certainly there challenging Kevin into the pits. So G-Mac will go through. Stargroup will go through. Stormfly also, it looks like he is going through. Who else? Where's Kevin? Where's Kevin? Still in the pits. Where's Mr. Cool? Is Mr. Cool going to get through? Certainly looks like it. Or is Kevin out? Oh no, Kevin is out in fourth place. Mr. Cool goes wide in that GTR. Has to back off. And that lets Nick John Baker through in the WRX. So into Druids, Nick John Baker takes fifth place from Mr. Cool. Nick John Baker needs to pit. So does Mr. Cool. PM10 just behind them. Damage to the front of that vehicle. Tucking into the back of Mr. Cool. So these guys have had a bit of a battle going on all day. Where's Predator? There he is in that Renault. Doesn't look like he's hit anyone yet. But we'll have a look later on. That might change. So Aussie Rooster back out of the pits. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Aussie Rooster back out of the pits. He's in 9th place. He's 5 seconds behind the battle up ahead. He's 5 seconds clear of Yellow Sausages. Yellow Sausages still running though on those soft tyres. As we see Avalon making a move on the softs. He's been in the pits. He's on fresh soft tyres. Breezes past Yellow Sausages on those old soft tyres on that Mitsubishi Lancer. So the early pace just starting to drop off now. He had a bad lap at a 1:58, which hasn't helped him pace-wise. But he's staying out longer on the softs, which may play into his hands later on. There's Jay there running in 12th at the moment, doing a good job actually. Phil's dropped right back after his pit stop. He's dropped right back. He's just on the back of Jay, looking to try and find a way round. If Jay can defend while Jay stays on the track, this will really, really help him out, because he's gone longer than these guys on the same tyres. Jay a bit slow into that corner though, but there's no space. As you see G-Mac pulling into the pits. Dropping right down the order is G-Mac. He was way up there, but great exit, great exit from Phil. And he moves up into 11th place, 4 seconds behind Yellow Sausages. So G-Mac comes out of the pits in that BMW in 13th place. Ran really well on those mediums, took them 7 full laps. So if he can get another 7 laps here, it is a 2-stopper for him. But he's got people in front of him that need to pit. Jay certainly needs to pit. Grid Troopers in the Feather, just at the back of that barrel. It's not over for him. He does have to pit soon, but not quite as soon as some of the guys in front of him. Can he make a move on one of these here? and particularly while those girls rubbing it all, he's not going to do it like that. If you put the feather in the sand, then you're going to see everyone pull away as you are there. But there we go. So Stormfly in the lead, but he's not having it all his own way because he's got that Tenza dialed in now, and he's really putting some pressure on Stormfly. Stormfly on those hard tyres, so will run longer, but there's so much speed in that Tenza on those soft tyres. But Kevin also having a go on the mediums round the outside. Surely he can't make that move stick, and he can't. Has to back off. And you see Stormfly going wide. Stargrew getting so much closer to him. We're going 3 cars into Druids here. First, second, and third. This battle is going to rage on. And so much lag there from Stormfly, from Stargrew. The car jumping all over the place with the lag. Don't know what we can do to alleviate that problem. But seems to be okay now. Not too bad. But it must be so disconcerting for the car behind to see him jiggling around like that. Stormfly in the lead from Stargrew in second and Kevin in third, and these 3 are pulling away, but the battle rages on. They've all pit once already. Stargrew opting for the soft tyres. It's much quicker that way. I think it did him such a good job in race number 1. Mr. Cool looking comfortable in 4th at the moment, but he's going to have to pit at the end of this lap. That front tyre, that front left tyre, really looking like its racing days are over. That is going to be recycled into condoms. Those condoms are going to be used to help Avalon out because he's been struggling. Started off so well in race number 2 and just seemed to have a little bit of a wobble and dropped way down the order. He's on those soft tyres. He's going to have to pit as well. So not such a disaster for Mr. Cool because Avalon behind him, who is quick, and has put in a 1:25.7, which is the second fastest lap in a race. So certainly not a problem with this car. So here he goes. He's going to pull into the pits now and put some fuel on board. Aussie Rooster, will he come through? Absolutely he will. He's got plenty of fuel. He's on those medium tyres. So Aussie Rooster comes through. Predator also coming through here. As you see Avalon in the pits. Mr. Cool opted to stay out for another lap on those tyres. His last lap was a 1:30.2. And he's already 4 tenths down. Was that the wisest decision he's had today? Not sure. He's gone for a similar strategy to race number 1. Is this going to work out from this time out? It's looking to me like a 2-stop is the faster strategy here. Certainly in fact, most of them that have done more than one, that have done 2 or 3 stops, have been quicker in terms of pace because you just don't have to look after the tyres as much. And Mr. Cool struggling a little bit there with the turns. Not getting, he's got a lot of understeer at the moment with the state of that tyre. He just doesn't have the grip. So yes, maybe he should have gone in. That gap behind Aussie Rooster is 8.5 behind. He's going to breeze past him when he goes into the pits, as will Predator, 3.8 seconds behind him. Phil is looking racy at the moment on the mediums in that Jag. 9 seconds behind Predator. Will possibly take 6th place. Well, Stargrew goes in now. Kevin up into 2nd place. He is 1.6 behind Stormfly. Stormfly not having the easy race he had in race number 1. The gap is not as big as he would like. Now the gap to Aussie Rooster. Aussie Rooster staying out. Mr. Cool in. Stargrew in. So Aussie Rooster up into the top 3 in that Lamborghini Huracan. And he is how far ahead? Stargrew comes out. Does he come out in 4th? He does. He comes out in 4th. Phil comes through in 5th. Nobody else out of the pits. So Phil will take 5th place. Nick John Baker up to 6th in that Scooby. And he's very close to the back of Phil. And the tyres are looking pretty good shape. Compared to Phil's anyway on those mediums there. G-Mac in the BMW. Looking better than he did in race number 1. Had a couple of wobbles though in terms of lap times. Just putting in his best lap though. Or certainly his best sector time on those medium tyres. Can he close up to that battle? The battle ahead. Nick looking for a move up the inside. He makes that move. Can he make it stick? He does make it stick. And Phil has to drop in behind in that Jaguar. So the F-Type losing out there to the WRX on that left-hander there. Nick making a great move up the inside and making it stick. But can he hold him off? Because it certainly looks through this section that Phil is a little bit quicker and certainly not allowing Nick to drop him now. PM10 not having a great day at all in that McLaren. He's back in 8th place. He has recently pit. He's on those medium tyres. He's going to run a little bit. The guys in front of him will possibly have to pit before him. Will that bring him up the order? But he must have got collected in lap number 1, because he was way down in 13th place. So at the moment running quite well. He's 4.5 seconds ahead of Avalon. Avalon, who has opted to go soft all the way and go racy in this 155. And he's very, very close. He's within half a second of the fastest lap in this car. So we know that it's got the pace he needs. But mistakes like that are going to cost you lap time. And it's just pushing too hard at times. And it's something that there used to be a kind of trademark of Avalon's races, was pushing too hard and losing it. And actually the last time we saw that was the last time, I think we were at Brands Hatch. So maybe it is just this track. We know he's very quick and we know he's got bags of ability. But it looks to me like Brands Hatch is just his bogey track and doesn't really suit him that well. But there are plenty more races to come in this series and plenty of opportunities for him to shine in that Alpha 155. As Stormfly goes into the pits, Kevin into the lead. He's half a second clear. Stormfly only just in the pits. How big a gap can Kevin pull now in that Porsche Cayman? Can he pull a big enough gap to make himself safe? He's certainly got plenty on those tyres to play with. Aussie Rooster also through. There's a yellow flag. Who's the yellow flag for? Well, it's certainly not Kevin. Is there a back marker having a problem there? Certainly can't see anyone. Well, whoever went out is not out anymore. But there was certainly a problem there. But Aussie up into 2nd place. Come through Druid, 7 seconds clear of Stargroup in the Atenza. Stargroup on those soft tyres still, and making it work very well for him. He is 3 seconds up from Stormfly, who comes out of the pits in 4th place. On those hard tyres again. So looking to run another long stint. Jumping again. Well, he'll take this to the end now, because we are 10 minutes left, so he'll take his hard tyres to the end. So he's got a 30-second deficit to make up on Kevin. Kevin, who will have to pit at some stage. So the 30-second gap is not necessarily that comfortable. Who have we lost? No one. There's Grizz Troopers out the back of the pack. 6 seconds back in that Ferrari. He's should be able to run to the end of the race on those tyres. 6 seconds on Jay. Jay will also run to the end in the AMG. Can he keep the car on the road and stay ahead of Grizz Troopers? Yellow Sausages started out very, very well in that Lancer, but has struggled a little bit later on in the race. But we've got to consider that he is racing with one leg. So Aussie jumps into the pits. That will promote Stargroup into 2nd place. Will that promote anybody else? We'll soon see in a minute. Phil in 11th place. He is under some pressure from Yellow Sausages at the moment. Now he can run to the end on those mediums, and we can see that Yellow Sausages will go to the end. Well, no, he won't go to the end on those hards because the fuel's going to run out. He's going to need to pit, so that's going to cost him some time. He's got a pit stop to Jay behind him, so he just needs to get in and out as quickly as possible, run mediums to the end of this race. That might mean, though, he's not going to be able to catch Phil. Predator just ahead of him. We'll say just. It's 7 seconds ahead. Another yellow flag. Who's gone off? Someone's obviously caught the gravel in turn 1. But Predator 18 seconds back from Avalon in the 155. Avalon will have to pit again on those soft tyres. Cannot take that to the end. He's going to find himself under some pressure from Predator, from possibly also Phil. Maybe even from Yellow Sausages if he can dull that car in. Mr. Cool running to the end in that GTR. 5 seconds off the back of Aussie Rooster. Aussie Rooster who pitted from 2nd. He's going to run to the end now on those mediums. Really dulled that Lamborghini in. So here we go. Stargroup in 2nd. 27 seconds behind Kevin. And we can see how far away he is. But Kevin in the pits now. Can he get in and out before Stargroup gets round that corner? Now Nick John Baker currently running in 3rd place. Now, can he take what's left of those medium tyres 6 laps? I'm going to say no. I don't think there's enough in those to run to the end of the race. So he is going to drop down the order, but Stormfly not closing that quickly. Now, where's Kevin? Kevin does come out in the lead, some way in the lead actually, and he's now on those soft tyres with 5 laps to go. 9 seconds clear. So despite Stormfly being the fastest man out there, it seems that Slow and Steady has won the race today, and Kevin 9.6 seconds clear in that Porsche Cayman. Star Group again second in that Tenza, but his tyres looking ropey, and I think he's going to have to pit, and that is going to play into Stormfly's hands here, because we know Nick John Baker is going to have to pit, but maybe not as soon as Star Group does. Stormfly right on the back of Nick John Baker now. He's running to the end. Now, the difference between him and first is 19 seconds. So he's 10 seconds behind Star Group, which is not enough when Star Group pits. Unless Star Group feels that he can take those tyres to the end, it would be a big ask, I think, on these softs. These softs generally only have 5, maybe 6 laps in them, and he has run not far off that on these so far. But it would say, he's a braver man than me, and I've seen stranger things happen. But Stormfly's on a charge, although his last lap was a 1:36, which by his standards is 11 seconds off the pace. So there we go. Star Group is going into the pits. He's not going to try and take those to the end, which I think is probably the wise decision. So he is dropping down the order. Nick John Baker in the pits. PM10 also in the pits. So who's going to be in the top 3? Star Group, is he back? He's back out in third. Everybody behind him just went into the pits, and that has got him back out in third place. And he's only 3 seconds behind Stormfly. He's 3 seconds behind Stormfly with fresh, soft tyres. And we know that Tenza is quick. So here we go. The charge is on to close down the 3 seconds to Stormfly, who is running in second at the moment. He is 19 seconds back from Kevin. So Kevin has won this race. And who is that up ahead going to be lapped? Because it's certainly not Kevin up ahead of him, because that's not a 19-second gap. That's Grid's Troopers in that Ferrari 458. So I think we're going to have someone lapped on this race. And we see Paul's right. I'd like to think he did that on purpose. Although I'm not sure why you would throw yourself. To be fair, I've done it before. When I'm no longer in a race, I kind of throw myself off the track and let the guys through, so as not to hamper it. Because the race is still on. Now, if Stormfly had been held up for even a couple of corners there, that could have really played into Star Group's hands. But that gap is already opened up to 3.6 seconds. And I think Stormfly knows that Star Group came out behind him on softs. But Star Group, again, putting that Tenza in the top 3, which is from a car that he absolutely hated, is a great achievement. Aussie in that Lambo on the medium tyres. Again, similar gap, 3 seconds. So it's going to be about who can dial in the better pace. We know that Lambo's been quick. Mr. Cool, he has been playing the hare and a torch, slow and steady wins the race. Every race so far. And while it may not have won him, it's certainly gaining in positions. And he's 2 stopped every time. 2 stopped in race number 1. Sorry, 1 stopped in race number 1. 1 stop here in race number 2. I have a feeling, now I don't know if he would be up for doing this, but I have a feeling that if he were to stop using 2 stints on softs, I think he could gain a place or 2, because he's got decent pace on those hards, and he's got very good consistency. And the gap to Aussie is 8 seconds. Aussie has pitted twice. If he pits twice and he's just as racy as those guys, I think he could close that gap. I really do. Nick John Baker's been looking solid all day today, to be fair. Really solid midfield runner. Getting the most out of that WRX. But, again, he's not got tyres. Despite putting fuel on. And for me, I think if you put soft tyres on there, it might add a second or 2 to your pit stop time, but you're going to be so much quicker and not have to worry about the tyres so much. Each to the road, eh? Predator in 7th place, 5 seconds back. Not sure if he's got the pace in that Renault Megane to close up that gap. And PM10, torrid first lap, and never really got back into this race. His pace is good, but it's been very inconsistent. And that's really caused some problems with getting back into this race. Finds himself back in 8th place. And I've got to say, I'm loving this tournament because it really is mixed up. Usually you would see in these races, you'd see Kevin, you'd see Stormfly, you'd see Stargate, you'd see PM10, you'd see Avalon, all around the front places. But actually, a lot of these quicker guys in GMAC as well. But you see them all died all over the racetrack, which means that week on week, we're going to see some real good racing all over the racetrack. So looking forward to this next week. There is GMAC, talking to man himself. Not getting the pace out of this BMW that we're used to seeing from him. Could it be the fuel and tyre saving aspect? It just isn't working for him. We said from day one that this guy's quick. I actually remember his first race when we first met the guy. He came in and you chucked up the uppercut. I think he got a third. He was. And there's a coming together there between Mr. Cool and PM10. What happened there? Now there's a penalty there for Mr. Cool. Did he make a move and catch PM10? Where's the damage? The damage all around for Mr. Cool, and the damage for PM10 is also all around. So it looks like one hit the other, and then they both went into a wall. So that looks like another decision that has to be looked at by the stewards. Not looking forward to this, actually. But could that be it's just a racing incident? Or was there... I mean, I can't imagine that these two guys are generally two that you would see smashing each other out of the way. So that looks to me like to be a racing incident. And we see Mr. Cool putting it into the pits by the looks of things. His damage obviously to terminal to continue. So Avalon promotes up to 8th place. 14 seconds behind Nick John Baker. He's on those racing softs. He is going to the end. We're on lap 19 of 20 laps. Who's that with a penalty? I'm sure I just saw someone with a penalty. There is Nick John Baker with a penalty. He's on tyres that have seen better days. Much better days. And he is going to struggle to get round corners with tyres that look like that. He's not going to put any pressure on GMAC. And I'll tell you what, with a 2.5 second penalty and Avalon only 5.7 seconds behind him, he could be in trouble here and lose this place. So not only is that left tyre fucked, I think he might be. And GMAC, we almost see him wobbling off the track. Was that lag or was that a big wobble in the BMW there? Did manage to keep it on the racetrack though. So Phil goes through on Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool went into the pits, had a little repair, trying now to salvage what was a good race at one stage. It was a good points in there for him. Yellow Sausages jumps in the Lancer, qualifies really well, had a little bit of a wobble, finds himself back in 12th place, but bearing in mind that he's racing with one leg, where everybody else isn't, you've got to say he's doing a good job there in 12th place in that Lancer, and it goes a little bit wide. Does get it back on the racetrack though. There's Jay in the AMG in 13th place. He's 34 seconds back from Yellow Sausages and 19 seconds clear of Grizz Troopers, who is in 14th place. So anyone that watches this video tomorrow and thinks this looks good fun, can I get involved? There is one car left. There is the Corvette. Obviously we won't need to spin bricks. It's what's left on the wheel. There is one guaranteed space left. If we fill that last space and we have people interested in joining that haven't got a car, we may add, say, Mr. Cool off the racetrack finds himself now lapped by Kevin, who's on his final lap, lap 21. He's managed to squeeze out, so the pace a lot quicker this time out, and he's lapped up to Phil, and he may even lap Phil in 10th place. Yeah, so anyone that wants to get involved in this brilliant race, Stormfly finished on lap 20. Yeah, pretty sure lap 20. So, brilliant race there. Stormfly second. Aussie in third. Great race from him. And look how close behind Stargate was. Stargate really closed down that gap at the very end. Predator coming home in 5th place. Do so much better when you're not knocking people off the racetrack, don't you? Avalon in 6th in that Alpha. So, has salvaged something from this race. Overtaking, not permitted, but that doesn't really matter at this stage. Grizz Troopers comes home in 14th. PM10 comes home in 7th place. Nick John Baker, those tyres just didn't hold out, and he comes home in 8th. I think when he goes in for that splash and dash pit stop, he needs to put on some soft tyres. I think that's what's cost him in race number 1 and race number 2. Here he goes, comes home in 8th place. GMAC comes home in 9th. Let's screenshot these results. a lot easier when I do the tables. And I know I've got some tables to update, guys. I will get on with it. I know I keep promising that, but obviously I've been very busy. I think it was the difference in pit stops, Aaron. So he pit a lot later than you in the first stop. So it was really difficult to gauge where everybody was in terms of pit stops. So that's where the 20-second gap came from. And he was chucking out some pretty quick times later on. But that's exactly where it came from. You went in on lap 4, and he hung it out to lap 7 or 8, I think. And it was literally just the difference in strategy that made the difference. And then when you came out in like 5th or 4th or 5th, I think it was, and he had clear air in front of him. You just got to pull away, and you had cars to overtake. So that's where the gap came from, really. Good drive from both of them, and you both dominated both races so far. So there we go. There's your top 3. Kevin from Stormfly, from Aussie Rooster. Great race from Aussie to get on to the podium there. So it just goes to show that this race actually is churning out some very, very different results. 2 different winners. We've had 4 or 5 different people on the podium. Certainly looking very, very tasty for race number 3. So, race number 3, what's different? Well, not much. Basically, same as before, but this time it's slowest first. Now, we will know if you're sandbagging, because we know you're qualified in race number 1 or race number 2. So, let's not be stupid and sandbag your lap here. We appreciate it's a 1-lap shootout, but we know if you are taking the piss, essentially. But that's what it is. Reverse grid now. Oh, not reverse grid, it's slowest first, with a rolling start. So it's going to be a lot harder for those quick guys to just go dashing out in front. They're going to have to make their way through. And I take from Nick John Baker's apology to Mr. Cool that incident may have been involved by his lack of tyres. But we'll have a look at replays. Actually, I forgot to save the replay for race number 1, didn't I? Why can't I save replays? Very strangely, I haven't been able to save replays lately, and I don't understand why I haven't been able to save replays. It's incredibly frustrating. But hopefully someone else has saved them for me, so we can have a look at those incidences. It might be just like I'm missing the... No, I haven't even got a GR4 car. I've got the 911 up there. So why am I trying to do that one then? Settings, change car. Let's go Scirocco. Suzuki Swift, there we go, look at that. Nice bright colours on my Suzuki Swift. So I think we're going to have a short break for everyone to have a ciggy and what have you. I'm sure... yeah, he's changed room settings, so I couldn't save it. My bad. So hopefully some of you guys have saved it. Obviously I've got the YouTube footage, but it's going to be missing some of those instances. Won't have all the additional angles you guys have. Yeah. So we've seen some accidents. We've seen some great racing. Seen some great overtakes. But most of all, we've seen how different the strategies are. I tell you what, the great thing about having a variety of cars like this, because what you generally find in GR4 and GR3 races is that only 2 or 3 cars tend to be the cars that everyone uses, and it can get a little bit samey and a little bit boring at times, particularly when you've got if you've got a grid of 15, 16 drivers who are all a very similar pace. Then being in the same car is not so much of an issue, because you will see good racing throughout the racetrack. But when you've got such a differing range of drivers, and we've got everything ranging from A+ drivers right down to sort of C-rated, D-rated drivers, me being the D-rated driver. And actually, it's quite good. Where's Jay? Has he disappeared? He's a C-rated driver, yeah. See, there's me, the D-rated driver. But it's good to see, when you've got that kind of range, that different cars, it's a great leveler when you can use different tactics to make those cars closer together. And that's basically it. So yeah, just waiting to find out what time the next race is. But I'm assuming, from the fact that Jake's not answering it. He's gone for a fag. But we have got one race left, and that'll be the slowest first. So, be interesting to see how quickly can Kevin and Stormfly have been the fastest two guys out there, certainly over the last couple of races. How quickly can they get through the order, and can people like Avalon? I mean, Avalon's only issue today hasn't been pace. His pace has been on fire. Consistency has been his issue. If he can dial into consistency in that 155, I think people in the top three need to be worried, because I think he's going to be in there. I think the same issue can be said of PM10. He had an awful first lap. I don't know who. It looked to me like he got collected on lap number one. Certainly we can look at his footage from that and see what happened there. Certainly if he can get that dialed in. Mr. Cool as well. I don't think the one-stop strategy has worked too well for him. I think it's costed him more time than an additional splash and dash might gain him, especially when you're looking at everyone else around him who seems to make up a little bit more time with the extra stop. It's particularly because towards the end of the first stint, around sort of lap 10, the tyres are going off a little bit, and it's a bit of a struggle. So it will be interesting to see where these kind of midfield runners pit themselves, because they're going to start in the midfield still, but they're only going to have the slower qualifiers in front of them. Obviously, there's going to be one or two anomalies, because it's a straight up one lap shootout for qualifying. We're going to have one or two anomalies where someone doesn't quite dial a lap in and what have you. So yeah, will be interesting to see. But we're just waiting to hear from Jay, really, to find out when the next quality session is. But maybe everyone have decided that's going to be it, because they've all seen to pull over to the side of the racetrack. So we've got so far. It's PM10 fastest. So we know that in that McLaren, PM10 can be quick. A 1:27.6 is not a shabby lap. We know that Stormfly has put in a 25.4, I think it was, or 25.2. We know that Avalon's put in a 25.4. So that, they've got some pace in them, but it is a one-lap shootout, and you need to dial in every single lap, every single corner here. And Brands Hatch can be very, very brutal if you get it wrong. There is no margin for error anywhere on this racetrack, because there is just gravel and grass everywhere. And when there's not gravel and grass, there are walls. And you don't want to see any of those, because it will affect your race. But we'll be interested to see just how clean we are in race number 3. We've had a few instances, race 1 and 2, that have cost people. And certainly the damage has been a bit of an issue. But I think we're going to have to look at one or two incidents, should we say, not instances, incidents, and see where what we do about those in terms of any penalties, if any penalties at all. We haven't got anything set in stone for this particular tournament, and we have been pretty relaxed about penalties. But I think we do have to accept that sometimes people need to be punished. So they'll be going into my dungeon and being whipped. Stormfly absolutely melts it into the wall in that Genesis. And a 4-second penalty to boot, which obviously he won't carry over, because just doesn't. And there is Stargrit seeing just how far off the racetrack he can take that Atenza. He's doing quite a good job, actually. He's trying to cross the narrowest part of the track and see if he can get across to the other side, because I think that's actually where that's not where the Indy track goes. It's further down, isn't it? But he's parked way off the racetrack. Right, I need to wet my throat and maybe get painkiller. Back shortly. And I'm back with you. Did you miss me? I certainly hope not. So I think we're waiting for everybody to do a lap. I don't think Predator's done a lap yet. I'm sure I've seen him just come out of the pits and park up in turn 1. Jay, it looks like to me like he's running a lap now. Or not. Right, so what's occurring? I love how childish everyone is when it comes to just waiting in turn 1 for everyone. The thing is, if everyone went out at the same time and did a lap, they'd all just be, they wouldn't be waiting there very long. But it's all very childish, isn't it? There are people out there, there's got to be people out there that haven't done a lap yet. And everyone just gets in their way. I just park on the side of the road and let people finish their laps, man. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of people who haven't got to run a lap yet. There's Stormfly showing off with his broken car. Has he just done a whole lap in reverse? Pretty impressive if he has. 21 second worth penalties for Predator. Very entertaining. He's such a child, isn't he? Such a child. So, if this is the final layout, then I'm not quite sure who's going to be at the front of the grid, but I think we're going to be looking at certainly Jay, Grizz are going to be out there at the front. At the back of the grid, we're going to have people like Kevin, PM10, Stormfly, G-Max, Star Groups, Mr. Cool. I should take a screenshot on whatever penalties they've got above their car at this stage. I might add to their time at the end of the race. I think they'd love me if I did that. Either that or I'd be killed. What is it that we are waiting for exactly? I think we're missing someone actually. Aren't we missing? I think we're missing Nick. But the race is going to start anyway. So there we go. We're not on board with anyone in particular. I think what I do, if I come like this, if I do this now, and then spectate, I'm not on board with anyone, so I shouldn't have to jump back in the room again. So just waiting for the go. I won't start on board with Chris anyway. So here we go. Race is underway. Yellow Sausages was on pole position. That should have been a rolling start, not a grid start. But we've done it now, so a bit late really, isn't it? Should have been a rolling start. But Yellow Sausages on the front of the grid. With Predator just behind him. A little bit of sandbagging there, certainly from Predator. Yellow Sausage could be excused, he's racing with one leg. Phil Avalon as well. Bit of sandbagging there, maybe. PM10 sandbagging. But here he comes through. I say he comes through. Massive spin. There he goes, off the track. So that might be a bit of karma for the sandbagging. Aussie Rooster in up to 7th place now. PM10 off the track. When's he going to come back on? Well, he's certainly not going to come back on anywhere. But everyone's restarting. I think they're restarting because it should have been a rolling start grid. So congratulations, and there we go. Yeah, so it needed to be a rolling start, so that's exactly, I think, what's going to happen. I think with the rooms reset, we'll probably have to do that one lap qualifier again. Yeah, no worries, Nick. If you're tired, you're tired, mate. To be honest, I'm working on painkillers to get through this. Cocodamol, tramadol, and naproxen is the only thing that's getting me through this. But there's one more race to go, and we can watch it. It's fine, mate. you didn't rage quit or anything, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Right, but anyway, rolling starts is what it's supposed to be. I think we're going to have to do the 1 lap qualifier again. Don't know if any of you are listening, but I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to do that 1 lap qualifier again. Just get it done. Start the qualifying now. Everyone tick in. Everyone qualify. Get the race started. We don't want any fusion shenanigans of 4-hour lobbies for what is essentially a 20-lap race. There you go. Race will begin shortly. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm not entirely sure the positions will transfer after the reset, but we'll soon find out. I think you would have had to do the qualifying again. We'll soon find out though, so we'll spectate from now. No rolling start again. What is occurring? No. Unless they are doing this as a form of qualifying. Now, to be fair, I'm just about on an even keel. I'd like to think I was getting high. I think the problem is because I take so many meds anyway. It tends to keep me on a level. But let's assume that this is qualifying and not the actual race, because everyone's in the wrong position. There we go. Touchwood. This is a formation lap. Or maybe that's it. Maybe they just did a formation lap. That'll be interesting to see if they can get that pulled off. But then if there's a formation lap, surely these guys will be dropping back by now. So maybe it's not a formation lap. Maybe it is just a qualifying lap. We'll soon find out. This is the only problem. I need to find a way where I can listen into the chat and talk to you. There probably is a way I can do it. In fact, I know there's a way I can do it. I just got to make sure that, because I don't want the chat obviously to end up on the stream. So I just need to make sure I turn that off, and that's what I'm going to have to do. Because I think sometimes I need to get involved in the chat and just make sure everyone's doing what it's supposed to be doing. But it looks to me like they're just racing. No, I think this has got to be qualifying. Surely it's got to be qualifying. But at the moment, Stormfly out front, Kevin is second. So in terms of qualifying positions, this is pretty much where I would expect to see people qualifying. So let's see what times we get. So will we do this as a qualifying lap and then change the lobby? Although I'm not sure if you change the lobby to slowest first, it resets any of these positions. Stargroup's struggling there. He's got a half second, 5 second penalty. He's not going to qualify well, is he? So not doing too well there at the rear. Don't know what happened to him there. Did he have a problem? He obviously went off at some stage. Quite a lot of damage. A fair bit of damage there. Some damage on Mr. Course. Did they ever come in together at all? But we'll see now anyway. So we're on lap number 2, which should be the qualifying lap. I'm not entirely sure it's going to work. Bit strange. Well, I don't understand why they started the race. It should have been a rolling start, slowest first. It's very difficult to give out accurate points on this when the race isn't correct. I don't quite understand it. Everyone's in the wrong positions. No one's where they qualified. Kind of defeats the object of having the slowest first race. But I suppose it is what it is. There we go. So if that's the case, then Stormfly is out in front with Kevin in second place, and so this is the actual race. Didn't expect to be seeing this, but there we go. Avalon in third in that 155. Can he keep that car on the road and put it where it should be based on his pace? PM10 doing much better this time out. He is sitting in 4th place at the moment. Yeah, I've seen it, Nick. I've just talked about it, mate. Maybe the chat is slightly behind where I am, but I have mentioned it. So there we go, yeah. So PM10 in 4th place. GMAC up into 5th in that BMW. Can he keep that BMW up there? He's running on those medium tyres. Will run a little bit longer. Yellow Sausage up to 6th in the Mitsubishi Lancer. Has started on the hard tyres. I know, Nick. I don't know if you're listening, or if you can't hear me, but I know. Aussie Rooster in 7th place with just half a second behind Jonas Oscars, who's got a penalty, he's got a serve, half-second penalty, and that could see Aussie Rooster moving forward. Aussie Rooster with a great 3rd place in race number 2. Phil off the track with a 5-second penalty. Who's he had it coming together with? He certainly hit someone. But Grizz Troopers coming through there. It wasn't Grizz Troopers yet, there's no damage there. So Grizz Troopers running well up to 8th place. Phil in 9th place with a penalty to serve. And I say that, Grizz Troopers off the racetrack into the gravel. And that's going to take some time to get back on the track. And he is finally back on the track. Star Group up to 11th place. He had a 5-second penalty on that one. He's got some damage on that Tenza. He's going to really struggle to get that car moved up the order now. J49 up to 12th place, also with a 5-second penalty. Where are people picking up these massive penalties? Massive penalties. I don't understand where they're picking them up. Predator in 13th place, and we've lost Nick to fatigue, which is fine. It's supposed to be fun, it's not supposed to be a chore. But Predator in last place in that Renault Megane. But Stormfly out in the lead, Kevin 77 behind him, and the gap is only half a second. So at the moment, Stormfly, Kevin and Avalon pulling away from the rest of the group, 3 seconds back to PM10. PM10 is sticking with them, albeit a couple of seconds off the back of 3rd place. Now he's running on the mediums, all 3 in front of him running on the softs, apart from Stormfly. Stormfly has changed his tactics somewhat. Now he ran softs in the first 2 races on the first stint and had to pit really early. In race number 2, it cost him towards the end of the race because Kevin just had the pace on him. Well, not really had the pace on him, but he had the tyres much longer. And it helped him get a 20-second gap after the last round of pit stops. Now, he's looking to make a move on Stormfly on those soft tyres. And I think both him and Avalon, if Stormfly is going to run longer on these mediums, really need to get round him as quickly as they possibly can, if they can. Because Avalon's already made that move on Kevin in the 155. Can he make the move stick? He's over on the grass. He does keep 2nd place though, but Kevin is crawling all over the back of the Alpha. Really, really tight racing there, but Avalon keeps that Alpha ahead. I told you to start getting his car dialed in, and he really is now. He's finding the time, finding the speed in the plucky little Alpha, and Kevin just behind, trying to find any way around. Now, in terms of tyres, they're both struggling a little bit this time out, and they haven't got the benefit of Stormfly pulling into the pits at the end of lap 4. Stormfly's going to stay out, but even still, those mediums like that Genesis is just ripping the shit out of the tyres. Not very good on tyres at all, because we're seeing people go longer on the softs usually, but Kevin goes in a bit sooner this time. Sometimes it's about track position, so he's got in sooner because he didn't have the track position, which makes sense to me. Avalon is staying out. Now the thing is, the tyres between Stormfly and Avalon, there was no difference at all. Yet Stormfly is on the medium tyres, Avalon running on those softs. Now if Avalon can get similar pace and a similar time out of the soft tyres that Stormfly's got on the mediums, we could actually see a big seed change in positions. And so far, Avalon is the fastest man out there with a 26.1. Albeit we shouldn't be seeing these guys in the lead at this time of the race. Bearing in mind it should have been a slowest first thing start, but they've obviously decided on another track between them, which is fine. We can amend the competition to suit if that's the way they want to do it instead. I'm open to change if it's what makes people happy. But at the moment, what makes me happy is watching this racing out front. Stormfly pulls in on the mediums. Avalon pulls in also on the softs. So, big difference. There is PM10 First time, really, he's been up at this business end challenging. And he goes through in first place on the medium tyres. We see GMAC going through in second on the medium tyres. 1 lap left in those if he's lucky, and he can keep that BMW on the road. Aussie Rooster on the mediums. Couple of laps left in that Huracan. He's doing a very good job in that Huracan. Got himself a lovely third place in the last race. So Avalon comes out of the pits 2.6 seconds ahead of Stormfly. He's on those softs again. Stormfly comes out again on the mediums, bit more fuel. Does that mean he can push a bit harder? Or has Avalon, with his mastery of fuel saving, pulled out a great pit stop strategy? He just needs to keep that alpha on the black stuff. Down the order, where's Kevin come out? Kevin's come out 1 second back. So he pitted earlier. He's now 1 second behind Stormfly. Still some work for him to do. He's also running those medium tyres, so that's the race to be looking out for. Mr. Cool, he's gone for the mediums this time out. Changed his strategy a little bit. I think this is going to make a difference. He's currently running in 7th, but I think we'll see this make a difference to his pace. Little bit of damage to the front and rear, but shouldn't be affecting his performance too much. Chris Troopers flying high up in 8th place on those medium tyres. Quite a bit of fuel still to go. We did see him spin a couple of laps ago, but he is really holding that car on the track very well now and putting in some decent lap times. He is 6 seconds clear of Phil on those softs. Phil will be on his second stint now, running those soft tyres in that Jaguar. And Star Groups was in last place. Massive issue on that one, whatever that issue might be. Another issue there. Found himself just sliding off the racetrack. He is in 10th place in that Tenza. So none of the heroics of race 1 and race 2 in that Tenza 4 Star Group. But we know he's quick. We know he can pull out some lap times, and I wouldn't count him out just yet. Tell you who you can count out. 22 seconds behind him, Predator in the Renault Megane. Struggling with the back end of that. There we have Jay as well in 12th place. And I think we've lost Yellow Sausages. That'll be down to a pain issue with his leg. So he will not be there's no punishment to give for that. We know the guy's struggling with pain. So maybe there was only just one race in it for him. But it was good to see him racing with us again all the same. And can't wait till you're fit and healthy and back racing properly full time. So there we go, from the lead, PM10 into the pits. Avalon just behind him will go through into the lead unless PM10 only goes for a little splash. But we see Avalon coming round now. He will take the lead in that plucky little Alpha. Stormfly in second place, 3.1 seconds behind Avalon. Now it seems that Genesis doesn't have the same sort of pace when running on the medium tyres than it does on the softs. So although the strategy certainly cost him in the last race, maybe it's going to cost him more not running that strategy in the Genesis. So you can see the different cars have very different strategies needed in order to manage their tyres and fuel and what have you. And it does mean that it does mix things up a bit. I think every racetrack is going to throw up different challenges. So certainly looking forward to the next race on this. Kevin in third place, 2.3 seconds back from Stormfly. So the top three are unchanged but for their track positions. Avalon now in the lead from Stormfly, from Kevin. They are now 8.5 seconds clear of PM10. PM10 went into the pits much later than they did though, and that is certainly going to show later in the race when they all go in and he is still running. So it will be interesting to see as we move into the late stages of the race how that strategy plays out, especially with PM10 being much further up the racetrack than usual, which is always good. I was going to look at where we are next week. So we're at Dragon Trail Seaside next week. Now that requires a very different kind of car setup than it does here. Yeah, no, they're chucking in very similar times. But I just think I don't know if it's going to work really with. It just seems Stormfly is off that pace a little bit on the mediums that he was showing in the previous races. I mean, he is dropping Kevin. Kevin running the mediums as well. He can't quite chuck in at the same time. And I think while Stormfly was worried about beating Kevin, they didn't factor on the fact that Avalon has had some crazy pace. And it's only consistency that's kept him out of the top 3 so far. He's been one of the quickest guys out there. But there we go. So, top 3, Avalon from Stormfly from Kevin. PM10, 8 seconds back, but not down and out. He's got a lot more tyre, a lot more fuel than the guys out in front. Mr. Cool running in 5th. Changed his strategy for race number 3. That's the one, race number 3. He changed his strategy for, and I think that's a good call. I think just going a little bit racier is going to give him an additional position. It just seemed to me the time he was losing on those really, really worn hard tyres was worth a pit stop for some racier. So I think if he goes medium, I mean, he's taken these mediums to lap 10 anyway, which is pretty damn decent. But if he can go medium, soft, I think he's going to set him in good stead for a very, very solid race. So here we go. We see him pull in now from 5th place. We'll see GMAC come through. GMAC's on his second stint on those medium tyres. Certainly running better up the racetrack than previously. Starting to dial it in a little bit better. Aussie Rooster, his heroics of race number 2, already forgotten as he's in 6th place. Did finish the last race on the podium. But at the moment, 1.2 seconds off the back of GMAC, albeit with certainly with a better tyre wear available to him. So Mr. Cool in the pits, Stargrew in the pits. How far back is Phil? I don't think he's close enough. I don't think Phil is going to make up that deficit. Grizz Troopers drops down to 10th place. Was running really well in 8th for a while. Did have a couple of spins and was still in 8th, so that's a pretty good run from him. Jay in 11th place. He's 10 seconds clear of Predator in 12th. He's not doled in that Renault. Certainly not in this race. And he's already under pressure from Kevin and a spin there. Nearly collects Kevin as he spins and he's being lapped. That was very, very close. And he comes on the racetrack and almost collects PM10 on the way through. You've got to look out, buddy. You've got to use that radar when you're coming back on the racetrack. Fuck me, you nearly caused a massive crash. He's like a wrecking ball. He is literally like a wrecking ball. But there we go. Everyone is safe. Avalon 4.7 seconds clear. Another lap, maybe 2 left in those tyres. Stormfly, similar tyre wear, can't close the gap on Avalon. Avalon's put in a 25.7, so we know he's got quick time in him. And we said it. I said it in race number 1. I said it in race number 2. His performance on the racetrack wasn't demonstrating just how good that Alpha is and how good his times were. So it has been consistency, and now he's consistent. He's up there with the big boys, mixing it in the top 3. Stormfly in 2nd place, 3.6 clear of Kevin, who very nearly bought it when Predator went spinning off the racetrack. As he spins, he nearly takes Kevin, and then 8.6 seconds back is PM10, who, as Predator was regaining the racetrack, nearly bought a big Predator-shaped dent in the side of that McLaren. That would have been an expensive dent to fix, especially if you're using a McGann to make the dent. He is, so here we go, Avalon in the pits. Stormfly, is he going to stay out? No, he's going to follow him in. So Avalon's going to go back on the softs, without question. He's going back on the softs. Or is he going to run to the end? Is this going to be a little ploy on his part? Interesting to see here. Kevin goes through. He's on those medium tyres. He's going to run longer. Actually, I think Kevin, he's got the strategy right again. Has he got this right again? Has he been smart and saved his tyres? That Cayman just seems to be so much better on the tyres, particularly those mediums, than all the other cars around him. Or is it just his driving style? Maybe that's it. Maybe he's actually not going at the super pace that he can. And he's protected his tyres because he knows that strategy is the one that plays out well for him. Excuse me. He's 8.3. 8.3 seconds clear of PM10 now. PM10 in that McLaren. And both of these guys nearly bought it out of the hands of the Predator. But if it bleeds, we can kill it, as they say. Avalon comes out 10 seconds behind PM10. PM10 and Kevin running similar strategies, both going to pit around the same time. What sort of gap can they pull out on Avalon? Avalon's 18 seconds back from those front two. He's back out on the softs. He can't take those to the end, can he? It would be a big ask to take those to the end. If we make it to lap 20, he probably can. If we make it to lap 21, I think it's going to be a struggle. Yeah, he's looking dodge. I think that's the thing. I think the way he's got his tyres set up, Nick, he's got a lot more wear to the rear because the fronts generally wear faster. Oh, big slide there from PM10. Arrests that slide very well, though. And how big a penalty was that on the top of Phil's car? 5-second penalty. How big a corner is this guy cutting to get a 5-second penalty? Did he come out of the pits, get a 3-second, and then drive back over the line again for fun? I just don't know where you're picking up a penalty of 5 seconds here without hitting somebody. But he certainly does have one. So, Jay at the rear of the pack, 28 seconds behind Predator. Predator, who tried to kill 2 people, but didn't manage to do so. 3 seconds behind Phil, who has got a million years of penalties, which is going to be a big problem when he says a good Predator is going to breeze past him. Grizz Troopers up to 9th place, just letting the faster cars through. He'll soon see PM10 and Stormfly bearing down on him. Star Group back in 8th place in the Atenza. Couldn't repeat the heroics of racing 1 and 2 in that Atenza, but he's crawling all over the back of Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool has changed his strategy in this race. He's a little bit quicker, but the only problem he's got is that he didn't have Avalon, he didn't have GMAC in front of him before, and these guys have moved up and increased their pace, which means he's got to increase even more so. And Avalon with a 5-second penalty, and that is going to absolutely screw his strategy right up. Now, he was looking to be the man to beat, and certainly comfortable where he was, bearing in mind that GMAC is going to pit this lap. Ozzy's going to pit in a couple of laps. Stormfly, I think Stormfly running on with hards to the end. So he needed to get past Stormfly, and I think that 5-second penalty is going to cost him maybe not top 3, but certainly the win of this race, which I think was his to lose. But he's gone into the pits. He's going to repair the damage. He's going to put on soft tyres to go to the end. And he's got rid of that penalty. So it is literally now a balls out race to the end for him. Aussie Rooster's going to have to pit again. I can't see him taking those tyres to the end. There are still 5 laps remaining. Maybe 6 laps even. So he's going to have to pit again. So Avalon can certainly make up that 21 seconds there. Now Stormfly is going to be 3 seconds further on the road. Can he go to the end? Well, at the moment, PM10 will have to pit again from the lead. He's only 10 seconds clear. How far back is that going to drop him? Because Kevin is certainly going through. He's only 10 seconds back, unless he gets really held up by Phil here. Then Stormfly 8 seconds behind that. And then he will have who? Has Avalon had a mistake? What has happened to Avalon? So we had... Avalon was somewhere, but he's disappeared. Very strange that he's just disappeared like that from the room. We'll see. Well, when we watch the footage, we'll see what sort of disconnection that was. So that's changed everything. Absolute complexion of absolutely everything. I can't imagine that he would have rage quit from that position. Not with that kind of pace. So I'm going to say that was an internet problem. But we'll have a look at the footage and we'll see. So Kevin 77 in the lead, 8.8 seconds clear. Stormfly is 2 seconds back. Sorry, 4 seconds ahead of Aussie Rooster, who again, just by virtue of shits and giggles, has made his way up to 3rd, but he will have to pit again. PM10 running much better this time out. Wasn't a lead for a while, but looks like he's going to muscle his way into that top 3 when Aussie goes into the pits. Is he quick enough, though, to catch Stormfly? There are 4, maybe 5 laps left. for him to do something with it. He's going to get around Aussie. He may even do so before Aussie goes in the pits. But if Aussie holds him up, that's going to put a scupper on any charge. And Aussie doesn't have to move over for him. They are racing on the racetrack. But I think Aussie will pull off to the right-hand side here and into the pits. And PM10 will disappear off into the sunset. 5 or 6 seconds he needs to make up now as Aussie pulls into the pits. Right, so GMAC, 28 seconds back. Is he close enough, or is Aussie going to chuck out another 4th place? Don't you think they're good? I didn't see it, so I can't make that judgment. I just saw that he disappeared. The easiest way to make the judgment is to look at the footage. But I can't see why he would, because he was quickest car out there. It wasn't going as well as it could have done, but he was certainly on. He was on for a top 3, absolutely on for a top 3 from that position. But we'll see. But GMAC doesn't get past Aussie. The gap is 7 seconds. He's on the soft tyres. What about so is Aussie? Aussie's on the softs, and we know that Aussie can put in some pace on these softs. So we will see if there's any opportunity for GMAC to. It's certainly salvaged his race up to this point. So Mr. Cool, he's going to run to the end now on these mediums. I think what he's opted to do is actually use the mediums instead of the hards and run the same kind of distance. But Star Group crawling all over the back of him on soft tyres and Atenza. Mr. Cool is going to be in trouble. That GTR may be quick, but Star Group has got that Atenza dialed in, and despite having a bad first lap here, which set him right to the back of the pack, I think we're going to see Star Group absolutely breeze through into 6th place. He's got brand new soft tyres on, and he's going to run to the end. Now, the question is, can he make up the 14 seconds to GMAC? I'm not sure there's enough time to do it. I think that gap will be a lot smaller, but I'm not sure if he's got enough time left in this race to make that up. We look down the order. Grid Troopers still running really well in 8th place. Predator, the bomb in the Renault. The bomb in the Renault has comfortably sitting in 9th place, actually, which is a surprise, bearing in mind that he's been trying to take everyone out. It's 40 seconds clear of Phil. Phil's just not 10-second penalty. That's almost as bad as my 41 seconds at Daytona. But that is explainable. 41 seconds at Daytona. 10 seconds here. I just don't know where you get a 10-second penalty here. The pit line's 3 seconds, and I don't think it doubles up if you cross the line twice. So I don't know where the 10 seconds comes from. But 10 seconds it is. That is going to bring Jay right into contention here, because Jay is only 8.8 seconds back from Phil. We've got 11 runners left. We lost Yellow Sausages. That'll be purely down to leg pain. We lost Nick down to fatigue. And we lost Patrick to what appears to be a toys out of the pram scenario. Which doesn't make any sense, because he was the fastest man on the track. And he may have had 1 or 2 consistency issues, but he was still damn quick. And still on for a 3rd place, in my opinion. So maybe a little bit hasty with that. But there we go. And actually, Avalon's been the one showing the most improvement in the car. But Kevin in the lead, 13.3 seconds clear of Stormfly. Stormfly changed his strategy in the hope it would change his position on the racetrack, but it just hasn't worked out. And it looks like the pace of Stormfly hasn't really changed much. He still had really good pace, although Kevin 77 with a 25.4. That's a very, very quick lap on lap 17 on those soft tyres. But I think Kevin had just grown into that Cayman lap after lap and got quicker and quicker and quicker. PM10 up into 3rd place. Finally gets position worthy of the pace he's had, or shown certainly in parts during these last 3 races. But I wonder how different this grid would have been had it been the reverse grid race we were expecting. how different would we still have these three? I think we'd still see the Kevin Stormflies, Avalons, PM10s, those guys out closer to the front. But would the gap be quite so big between third and fourth, for instance? As we see PM10 just lapping Grid Troopers there. So he comes through in that McLaren. Aussie Rooster can't create heroics in his third place in the last race, but fourth place certainly a very, very solid performance. GMAC in fifth in that BMW. Better performance from him this race. Everyone seems to have just improved. I think everyone bar the front two really have improved over the course of this race. Star Group not had a great race, but if you consider that he was in last place at the end of lap one with a huge penalty and miles back to salvage sixth place, it's been an achievement to be fair, and he's still looking relatively racy. We're on the last lap, or certainly for most of these guys the last lap. As we'll see, will Kevin make it through actually? Could this be that the race ends here? I think it will do. Oh no, he's already through. So Kevin is through for lap 21. Stormfly, however, finishes in second. PM10 will finish in third. And spinning across the line like that can be a bit of a pain in the arse, especially when you've got, I suppose I don't think we've got anyone that close for it to be an issue. But Mr. Cool finishes again in that seventh place position, which is kind of there in that midfield. But 3.5 seconds you're on Star Group. So Star Group's performance in that race, I've got to say, from what started as sort of 13th place, or 13th place, something like that, made his way up through the order, and but for people leaving or whatever, still a very, very solid performance from him. Mr. Cool, always good and solid in that midfield. Jay will come home in 10th, ahead of Phil, who that 10-second penalty did cost him that place. And he will come home behind Jay. Where is Jay? There is Jay just crossing the line now. And here we go, Phil crossing the line in that Jag in 11th place. And eventually, being that he's still running, he's just coming round to complete lap 21. And that will be the final lap and the end of this race. There we go. So, we've had some frills, we've had some spills, we've had everybody change the format of the race mid-race, well mid race series anyway. We should have had a rolling start, slowest first. They've clearly opted just to go for the standard fastest first in the last race, which is fine. We can change the format to that if they so wish. What else has happened? Well, Stormfly dominated the first race by some margin. Kevin came back in race number 2 and made a big inroads and a 20-second gap for himself. We had Aussie Rooster get himself into that top 3. We had Avalon looking so quick. Race number 1, race number 2, race number 3, really dialing that 155 in and getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And it appears he lost connection and just dived out. Now, I personally didn't think it was a rage quit. I think when you're in that position that quick, you're going to rage quit. It was suggested it might have been, but it doesn't look like it was. But we'll soon find out when we look at the replay, won't we? So there's your top 3. Kevin, 77 from Stormfly, and PM10 finally gets some pace out of that McLaren and doesn't crash and finds himself in the top 3. So that's the end of the 3 races today for the GR4 lottery. And my voice did hold out, if only just. We are at Joe Trail Seaside next week. Format will be the same as it was today, I would assume. So there is still one car left if anyone wants to jump in and grab that final car, which is the Corvette. That is still available and up for grabs, and there are plenty of points still available in this competition. As for the rest of this week on Black Flag E-Racing, what do we have coming up for you? Well, we've got GRB on Wednesday, if we have enough people diving in for that. That is coming towards the end, so we look forward to that. We've got the GR3, European GR3 on Thursday. Again, we need the numbers for that. Numbers did drop off quite quickly on that, strangely. On Friday, we've got the Renault Megane Trophy, which is the same car series on Friday. Then Saturday, we're back to Black Flag bullshit, which was postponed for 1 week, and we're coming to the tail end of that tournament. So really looking forward to that. And then Sunday we've got it's the handicap tournament, which will be held with our host Jay and Stallfly Star Group will be running that. That's the handicap tournament where the quick guys go on the softs, the middle runners go on the mediums, and the slow guys go on the other way around. So the quick guys go on the hards, and the slow guys go on the softs, and anyone around midfield gets the medium tyres. That's always a bit of fun. But other than that, it is what it is. I will see you later this week for GRB if there's big enough numbers. I certainly will see you for the GR3 on Thursday and for the Grand Trophy on Friday. And then I'll see you again Sunday for the third round of the Lithuanian Championship. So, without further ado, thank you for joining me again. It's been 3 very long days of streaming. I'm still tired and still sick from Saturday. But nothing more to say other than it's been emotional. And yeah, I've been Ivan Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV, and we are out.
I've never been the one to club to me, but baby, being with you makes me hungry. One too many lost fingers, and baby, that smell always lingers. Oh, that stench. Oh, how it lingers. Oh, how it lingers. And you're the one for me. You're still a close pick, baby. Feed. And I'm not the one you pushed away. It was you, it was you, it was so easy. And don't be scared, let yourself go. I'm not the judge, that's you alone. And don't be scared, you know. I'm not the one, it's you and score.
Don't you come in here with your hot, greasy bags and tease me.
Oh, that stench.